waiting for the boat to Myanmar. This ferry operation on the Chinese side of the border has been running for a decade. Passengers of all ages and both nationalities, each paying a little under $1 to travel the few minutes it takes to swap countries. It's all, of course, like many of the long-established links between Myanmar and the Chinese province of Yunnan, entirely illegal.
The police don't pay us much attention. They walk back and forth, but they don't do anything.
A few kilometers away is the main crossing point in the border town of Weili. Even here, the formalities aren't exactly formal. And it's the porous nature of this 2,000-kilometer border and the interconnectedness of the people on both sides that dominate China's relations with its southwestern neighbor.
The problem for Beijing is that much of the land immediately on the other side of this frontier is controlled by armed ethnic fighters who've signed a ceasefire agreement with Myanmar's government. So the priority for China in its dealings with Myanmar, as in so much else, is the preservation of stability among its own people.
For an example of instability, you only have to go back to August last year and a crackdown on the Kokang ethnic army by Myanmar's military. The effect on China, an influx of 37,000 refugees. More such crackdowns could come in the run-up to Myanmar's controversial elections due sometime this year. And China's interests have been magnified by a multi-billion-dollar pipeline project bringing oil through the border regions direct to Yunnan's capital, Kunming. So how to maintain the delicate status quo? Well, part of the answer can be found in one of Weili's jade markets. All the semi-precious stone on display here, we're told, has been brought over illegally from Myanmar. One trader who didn't want to be identified said authorities on both sides turn a blind eye, aware that stability needs a thriving border economy.
The Burmese authorities don't want to block the trade. They have the capability, but if they did it, the people over there wouldn't be able to sell their goods, especially the jade that's not top quality.
But such criminal trade also causes tensions. Heroin and amphetamines from Myanmar make Yunnan the epicenter of China's drug and HIV problems. And while logging has declined dramatically in recent years, environmentalists say it still goes on, sometimes with the approval of local officials in Yunnan. That's left China facing angry protests from Myanmar over decisions taken far from Beijing.
I think any policy differences between Beijing and Yunnan show in the actions of few of the local enterprises. They have their own concerns, and these kinds of situations can happen.
Labourers from Myanmar, some here legally, some not, kill time at a borderside truck depot as they wait for work, which they say earns them 4 times as much as it would back home. For them, as for their governments, the border is less a sharp dividing line than a broad area of mutual interest. Harry Fawcett, Al Jazeera, Yunnan Province, China.